Hey, Henry. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Henri Veesaar. We're still sitting here waiting. Do it. Commit right now.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Friday, April 4th, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your first listener watch to get your Friday going the right way. Special shout out to all you everydayers out there, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and of course, our great Locked On Tar Heels insiders. It's great to be with all of you. This episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Head on over to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Need one right now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. All right, gang, it's Friday. It's been a long week of portal talk. So here's where we're headed on the show today. I just want to tie a bow on the week, catch us up with where everything's at, what's going on, who's in, who's out, names off the board, all of that stuff. I just want to get you ready for the weekend so that if stuff comes out over the weekend, I can just hop in with a quick something and you're with me, right? Makes sense? Good. Secondly, I want to talk about the dead period because there's a lot of misinformation going on about the dead period right now, but also the dead period. Why now? That's dumb. We'll talk about that. And then we're going to wrap up the show with our weekend whip around. Massive win for the Tar Heels over Duke on the baseball field on Thursday evening. Okay, here we go. Segment one, diving right into it. So many names, so little time, right? It's hard to keep up with it all. But guess what? That's why I'm here. It's my job to keep up with it all and to keep you informed. So that's what we're going to do. I want to bring it all together. Right now, the big angle is that we're still waiting. I think a lot of people, myself included, hoped that maybe Carolina could lock up Henri Veesaar when he was on campus on Wednesday night. It did not happen. Consequently, we wait and we wait and we wait. The update right now is the biggest needs, the critical needs are the bookends, point guard and center. Yeah, you want to keep filling out other stuff, but man, those bookends have to be the primary focus right now. And it sounds like they are for the coaching staff, and that's great. But also, we got to think about this. There were other names that we've been talking about already that Carolina's been in contact with, like Nick Dorn, like Kanon Catchings, for example. So I want to update you on those. And also keep in mind throughout this whole thing, there were other Tar Heels that could still be out to the transfer portal or to the NBA draft. So that's what we're looking at. Let's start with what I'm calling Veesaar Watch, the big Estonian Henri Veesaar. Honestly, there was nothing really new on Thursday in the Veesaar Watch. We didn't get any news. And I think the inclination for a lot of people might be no news is bad news. I think it's no news is probably actually good news. There are no other conversations about setting up visits. There's nothing, nothing with that. Now, the one thing that I did see on Thursday was that Travis Branham from 247, who is one of the most trusted names in this whole deal. Like there's only a couple names that I really, truly trust when it comes to their information. It's guys like him, Joe Tipton, who we've had on the show here from On3. When it comes to Carolina specific stuff, Sherrell McMillan, when he speaks, I trust it, man. And there might be a couple others, but those three in particular. But anyway, I bring up Travis Branham because he did say on Thursday on the 247 Sports College Basketball Show, quote, as soon as he hit the portal, Henri Veesaar basically hopped on a plane and headed to North Carolina. I anticipate this one will wrap up fairly quickly. North Carolina is in a good spot to land him. Maybe there's a curveball and he plans to take a couple more visits. A return to Arizona has not been ruled out either, but the Wildcats are going to have a fight on their hands with the Tar Heels, end quote. And remember, this happened on Thursday after the visit's over and he's already back in Arizona. So that feels good to me from Travis Branham. Obviously no crystal ball from him, which would be the ultimate stamp of approval, but you'll take that from right now. So no crystal ball. And also I do want to acknowledge, I think there was a lot of hand wringing, a lot of like, oh my goodness, no, with Henri Veesaar getting on a plane and going back to Arizona. Let me just say two things about that. Number one, He literally had to. At midnight from Wednesday into Thursday, when it turned to midnight and it was now Thursday, the dead period began, and that meant no in-person contact, and he had to leave campus, right? So literally couldn't stay. Also, school is still in session. He is an Arizona Wildcat student. He has to go back to school. That's a thing. So just, I'm not that overly I know a lot of people are like, oh gosh, they let him get on a plane, let him go back to Arizona. He had to. What are we doing? What are we talking about? Anyway, so that's Henri Veesaar. I don't even want to discuss any other bigs right now, because right now for me, it's Henri Veesaar or bust, right? If you don't get him, sure, then you turn your attention to others. But right now, I am all locked in on Henri Veesaar. Let's go to the point guard, the other bookend. First, before we mention names still in contention, I do want to mention a couple guards, some points, some shooting in particular that went off the board on Thursday that I really wanted. Isaac McNeely, the Virginia transfer, a great shooting guard, 6'4", really wanted him. I've voiced that multiple times now. He committed to Louisville on Thursday. Louisville is getting everybody, it feels like. Congrats to you, Pat Kelsey. Cards are going to be a force. Trey Donaldson, the Michigan point guard transfer, was in the transfer portal. To be honest, it would have been fine had he come to Carolina. I've not been a massive fan, I got to be honest. But he committed to Miami on Thursday, so don't have to worry about that. And then Silas Demery, the Georgia transfer, man, I thought he could have been a really helpful piece at Carolina. Unfortunately, he commits to Dan Hurley and UConn. Up in the air right now is still Jacoby Gillespie, the 6'1" point guard from Maryland. I know the size underwhelms, but go back and listen to third segment of Thursday show, where Coach Rob and I talk about him. Oh, I am enamored with this young man. Would love to have him. The thing is, I think he's going to wind up at Tennessee. He took a visit there Wednesday. He's going to visit Villanova after the dead period. That's where his former head coach from Maryland, Kevin Willard, is going. And so Carolina's been in contact. They've reached out. I'm not hopeful, if I'm being very honest. But another option is Naithan George from Georgia Tech. Now, if you'll remember, over a week ago, I talked about Naithan George on the show as a point guard that I wanted to target. You can go back and watch that if you want. It was last Thursday. We clipped out the segment, so there's like a nice little 9-minute video you can watch on Nate George. And my thought with Nate George is, look, hey, if you can't have the ACC's second leading assist man from last year, Elliot Cadeau, why not upgrade and get the ACC's top leading assist man last year, which was Naithan George? My understanding is that Naithan George and the Carolina coaching staff had a Zoom call on Thursday. But hold on, Isaac. I was told it was a dead period, and coaches couldn't instigate conversations with players. That is wrong. I'm going to talk about the dead period in the second segment because I want to unpack all this for you, but just know they Zoomed on Thursday from what I have been told. I'll help you understand the misconceptions about the dead period here in a second. But with Nate George, I like him. I think he would be a good fit, and I would love for Carolina to pursue him. He's 6'3". Let's just get bigger. Why not? That's what we've been talking about doing. He's a rising junior, so he's got 2 years of eligibility. That's a win. Again, he's 6'3", scored 12.3 points a game last year, 4.2 boards, and again, an ACC leading 11th nationally, 6.5 assists a game. He did have, because look, I'm not just going to lay out the pretty, I'm going to lay out the ugly. 3 assists a game. That was less than Elliott, but still, he needs to cut down on it. Although 6.5 assists a game, 3 turnovers a game, that's more than a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. That's fine. How would it do in a more up-tempo offense than Georgia Tech plays? That's another question. He is durable. Played the second most minutes total in the ACC last season, 1.1 steals a game. He did have a 6-game stretch in ACC play this year where he scored 20 or more points 5 times in that 6-game stretch. As a reminder, Elliot Cadeau's career high in points is 19. He hit 78.9% of his free throws last year on 2.2 attempts. That's encouraging. He didn't set the world on fire from 3, 33.9%, but he did take 5 attempts a game. He's willing to take the shot, and that's a big deal. That helps with gravity and spacing and all of that. Again, his turnovers are higher than desired, but his turnover percentage is 19.9 last season, which again, I would love for that to come down, but still lower than Elliott's 25% that he had last year. But the problem with Nate George, there's no with the dead period, there's no visits right now. Couldn't visit. The dead period ends next Thursday, so the earliest he could visit campus is next Friday. But in this transfer portal time of the year, just because somebody can't visit doesn't mean they're not going to commit. Hello, Jonathan Powell. Welcome to the Tar Heels from West Virginia. You never visited campus, right? Like, that's a real thing that Nate George could do. Also, oh, by the way, he has come to campus with Georgia Tech to play before. So, that's a real thing. Now, also, if for some reason, you don't get Gillespie, he goes to Tennessee, you don't get Nate George, either you decide you don't want him or he goes somewhere else. Keep in mind, I think we always say oh, Carolina didn't get this guy or that guy. Sometimes it's because Carolina backs off because they see something they don't like. He's not their guy. So that's fine. But keep in mind, if you don't get Nate George or you decide you don't want Nate George, there's still multiple weeks left in the portal for other players to get in, and they will. So just have patience, have faith. Now, the other thing is, while multiple targets have committed elsewhere, or guys that I wanted Carolina to target at least, there are still others that are out there on the table that we've previously talked about or looked at. One of those is Kanon Catchings. We talked about him, late last week or early this week. I think it was Monday, maybe actually. The deal with Kanon is he visited the University of Georgia on Wednesday. From everything, I've scoured the internet and all my sources and have not heard anything about him committing to Georgia while he was on campus. That's good news for Carolina. Now, I say that in the same breath as I said, Carolina's fine, with Veesaar, and I recognize the two-sided nature of that. Fine. That's a thing. But Catchings did not commit to Georgia, and Carolina is going to now need to continue to evaluate, do they want to pursue him? And if so, same thing as Nate George, the earliest he could come on a visit would be next Friday. And so we will continue to look at that. If Carolina still wants to be in on him, that's when I would imagine a visit happening. Beyond that, I have honestly, we can make educated guesses on how many guys Carolina would go after outside of a center and a point guard because they've already landed Jonathan Powell. My guess is, because there's never enough shooting, they probably want one more kind of wing or shooting guard type player. And so whether that's Kanon Catchings or somebody else, I think that would be the third priority behind point guard and center. And I think Nick Dorn would be a tier behind Kanon Catchings. And so he's probably got what I would term a non-committable offer, meaning they've basically said hey, you can't commit yet, is my guess. I have no inside knowledge on that. That's what I'm guessing. Now, another part of that conversation, though, to keep in mind is that we don't yet know the status of multiple Tar Heels that are potential returners. NBA draft decisions for both Ian Jackson and Drake Powell. If I had to guess today, I'm going to split them and say Ian goes and Drake comes back. Again, not something I have inside knowledge on. It just seems like the thing. It could very well that they both end up going. It could end up that they both come back. It can end up that Drake goes and Ian stays. Any of those are possibles. But I do believe right now, if I were guessing, that's what I think would happen. And we'll wait and see on it. And keep in mind, even if they declare for the draft, there's still the potential of coming back. I don't think, at least with Drake, and maybe Ian too, if they did come back, I don't see any transfer portaling. I feel more strongly about that with Drake than I do Ian. And again, this is me not speaking anything insider knowledge. This is just Isaac speaking his thoughts and mind. But then also there's Seth Trimble, there's Van Allen Lubin, both of whom it seems like are going to stay from what we've heard. But Cade Tyson, James Brown, Zayden High, all of that is up in the air until the portal closes. Nothing is set in stone until that point. So that's where we're at. Waiting on Henri Veesaar, Nate George, ? Kanon Catchings, ? Nick Dorn, and other guys on the roster. That's all to tie a bow on it. Sound good? Would love your feedback, but hopefully that's a primer to get you set for the weekend. Now, as I have alluded to multiple times in today's conversation already, there is a lot of incorrect information, a lot of misinformation, I guess I would say, going around about the dead period, what it is not. I want to unpack the truth for you and make sure we all understand this thing. We'll do that coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about fabric. Life moves fast, especially when you got a family. One day you're watching your kids take the first steps. Next thing you know, they're out the door and off to college. Whew. And that's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it really easy to get term life insurance that fits your family's needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch in as few as 10 minutes. And in many cases, when you do so, no health exam is required. As a parent, man, I want to make sure that my family is financially protected no matter what happens. And Fabric gives me that peace of mind. You can get $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. So protecting your loved ones doesn't really have to break the bank. Fabric also offers free digital wills and access to investment accounts to help you plan for your children's future. So go ahead and join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Again, that's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. This episode is also brought to you by our good friends at Prize Picks. Baseball season is in full swing, except for my Braves, who apparently don't know how to swing right now. And there's no better way to get in on all the baseball action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you just simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. So whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. Setting a lineup takes less than 60 seconds, and when you win, your payout is quick, safe, and definitely secure. I always take advantage of Taco Tuesday, where Prize Picks offers discounts on select player projections to give you even more value. Now, I know we're talking baseball here, but the semifinals of the NCAA tournament are coming up tomorrow, Saturday. I've got more or less one player from each team for those games. Cooper Flagg, 19 points. Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida, 21 points. LJ Cryer from Houston is set at 16 points. And Janai Broom from Auburn set at 20 points. Go check it all out, man. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. The dead period. We need to talk about this thing because there are clearly misconceptions going on about what it is and what it is not. I think a lot of people just assume they know and start spouting things off. So what I want to do for all of us today is tell us the information straight from the NCAA rule books. How about that? Does that sound okay that way? There's no confusion. There's no messing this up. There's no just guessing, any of that. So the dead period. There are multiple dead periods throughout the year. The one we're in right now runs from April 3rd through April 10th. So started yesterday, Thursday, April 3rd, and it runs through next Thursday, April 10th, meaning things open up, as I said just a little bit ago, for visits again next Friday, April 11th. The odd thing is, this is falling right in the midst of the portal being open. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but the portal runs from March 24th to April 22nd. Just a reminder, when the portal closes, you do not have to have committed to a school. You just have to have gotten into the portal by that point. Again, not necessary that you commit to a new school. Only necessary that if you want to be in the portal, you have gotten into the portal. You can commit to a school at any point after that. The dead period. What is it? I'm going to read to you literally directly from the NCAA. A dead period is that period of time when it is not permissible to make in-person recruiting contacts or evaluations on or off the member institution's campus, or to permit official or unofficial visits by prospective student athletes to the institution's campus. So to sum that up, also directly from the NCAA's website, during a dead period, college coaches they are allowed to call, write, text, or email you or your family, meaning prospective student athlete. Again, they may call, write, text, or email. During a dead period, college coaches may not. This is what is impermissible. Watch you compete in person, visit your high school, have face-to-face contact with you and your family. Nothing in person, but you can contact digitally. And one of the biggest misconceptions I want to clear up is something I've heard going around a lot in the past week or two. People saying, oh, the college coaches can't reach out. But if the student athlete reaches out, that's okay. There's literally no language about that. It just specifies it can't be in person. That's fine. If I am head coach Isaac Schade and I want to reach out to you, podcast listener, I can send you a text and say, hey, would love to Zoom with you, Nathan George. You want to hop on a Zoom tonight? Sure. So the Zoom with Nathan George on Thursday night is allowed because you can have digital contact. It makes sense. So that's what we're talking about. And I just want to clear that up. Coaches can initiate. They just can't meet with you in person or go watch you play. And it doesn't matter if it's on campus or off campus. And the reason that's specified is because there's another period of the recruiting cycle when you can meet with students, but it has to be on campus. So that's why that is differentiated. Also want to clear up to make sure we all understand this. Just because players can't have in-person visits does not mean that they can't enter the portal. The portal is still open. It's just a dead period for face-to-face recruiting. So if I, Isaac Schade, have been playing at Marquette, I'm just making up a school, and I want to get in the portal, I can do that during the dead period at any point in time. And if I'm random Isaac Schade from Marquette and I want to have some phone calls with Cal State Bakersfield, I can do that. And then if I decide I don't like Cal State Bakersfield, but I do like Fresno State, then I can commit to Fresno State sight unseen. I can't go visit their campus right now, but I can talk to them and I can decide I want to go there. So that's why even on Thursday, you saw a bunch of commitments. It's like, I thought it was a dead period. It is a dead period, but you can still commit. All of this is true. Now, hopefully that clears that up. If you've got questions, reach out to me. You can DM me on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, whatever. You can get into the Locked On Tar Heels Discord and ask me. Better yet, become a Locked On Tar Heels insider and you can have direct access to me all the time. That link is in the show notes. Would love to have you. All of that unpacked and hopefully cleared up. Here's what's bonkers and crazy to me. Why on earth do we have a dead period in the middle of the transfer portal being open? This has to be adjusted. This is ludicrous. You already only get a month after. Remember, the portal has been shortened each of the last 3 years now, or the last 2 years now, down to like 30 days, basically. It's already so short, and you're losing a week period in the midst of that, an 8-day period to be more technically correct. And so, yes, student athletes can commit at any time. It doesn't just have to be when the portal's open. And again, as I said, this doesn't stop them from entering the portal. Sure. But this season, while it is open, is like the arms race of when there's like a hive of activity happening. And you're literally squelching it right in the middle. That's just dumb. Now, part of this reason is because the portal has opened at a dumb time. I get creating a dead period surrounding the Final Four. That makes sense to me. But what doesn't make sense to me is having the transfer portal open right now. Yes, it's better that we moved it from the day after Selection Sunday to the day after the Sweet 16 was set, but it's still too early. We got to shift it back. Have your dead period. Have the whole NCAA tournament be a dead period. Great. And then open the portal next week. You know, like a lot of college coaches actually go to the Final Four. So the championship game is Monday night. I say keep it a dead period through Tuesday so college coaches can get back to campus. And then Wednesday, finish off the dead period Tuesday. Next Wednesday, after the championship game, boom. The portal has been open for a couple days. Like open up the portal Monday. That's fine. Championship Monday. Another fun storyline. But the dead period ends on Tuesday. You can visit on Wednesday. That makes all sorts of sense to me. Let's get this over. Then we can open it up. We don't have to worry about having a dead period in the middle of the transfer portal being open because the transfer portal is open at a more sensible time. And so the dead period can be at a more sensible time so I can come visit you at a sensible time. Like it's not hard. I've never worked for the NCAA a day in my life. And I'm sure there's things I'm missing and reasons they do what they do. but let's make this better on everybody. Like, we're trying to make this better for the coaches. We're trying to make this better for the student athletes and their families. This seems like a sensible way to do that. I don't know, man. Make some adjustments. Make it make sense. All right, the Diamond Heels picked up a gritty win over Duke on Thursday night to open up their weekend series. I'll unpack that and the rest of the weekend rip around coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about 5-hour energy. Daylight savings, man, it just keeps sneaking up on me. And if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep like I do, 5-hour energy has got your back. The extra sunshine, it does mean more time for fun and hanging out, but sometimes I need a little boost to power through, and you probably do too. So whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, maybe some baseball out on the West Coast like I've been doing with the Braves in San Diego and Los Angeles this week, squeezing around to golf in after work, or you're just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-hour energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Man, I tell you legitimately, with the NCAA tournament winding down and my responsibilities covering college basketball nationally, I've had so many late nights, not enough sleep. And I tell you what, 5-hour energy is the jolt I need to help keep me going the next day. So whether I'm at a game or I'm traveling or I'm here at home, 5-hour energy is the thing that's so easy to grab and helps me keep feeling refreshed. So check it out. Head on over to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, peach mango. You can even build your own 12 or 24 pack and have it delivered right to your door. But maybe you don't have time for that and you need one right now. No problem. Head on over to your local grocery store or convenience store and grab a 5-hour energy because they're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. Weekend whip around. Just want to get you ready for what's going on in Carolina athletics this weekend. But we start with the result from Thursday night, where the baseball series this weekend is Thursday through Saturday instead of Friday through Sunday. And game one was a doozy. Carolina wins this thing 4-3. Carolina got a bases loaded hit by pitch in the third to score the first run of the game. Then in the fourth, both teams get a 2-run bomb. So it's 3-2 Carolina. That score persists until the bottom of the eighth, when Carolina scores via an error to get that all critical insurance run and make it 4-2. And I tell you, that insurance run was indeed critical, because in the top of the ninth, Duke loads the bases with nobody out. In comes freshman Walker McDuffie looking to get a save. He can allow one run to score, but no more. And that's exactly what happens. First batter he faces throws a dirty breaking ball on the first pitch to get a swing and a miss, gets another strike, ultimately induces a ground ball to short. Vanderbrake and Madera can't turn the DP. They get just one and the run scores. So we got first and third with one out. And it's like sack fly ties the game. We're going to extras. So if I'm Coach Forbes, I'm bringing the infield in. At the corners, I'm leaving the second and short back to try to turn that double play. They actually go into a shift, which is, I was like, that's bold take there, coach. But good grief. Duke hits right into it. Madera is still sitting at second. But because Vanderbrake is on the other side of the infield with him, he's got to do it himself. So fields this ball, gets to second, and simultaneously whips it to first. Great stretch over there at first. And bang, bang, both plays just in time. The umps took forever to review this. I mean, it was interminable. You think end of college basketball has been long. This was dumb, but it was clear. That part of why I was like, why is this taking so long? Neither the play at second clearly stepped on the bag, then released, and the play at first. Like, it wasn't even, I said bang, bang on replay. It was very clearly in the glove. Runner is still just beginning to pick his foot up to then step on the back. I mean, not even close. I don't know why it took so long. Anyway, Carolina wins via that crazy double play from Alex Madera. Great pitching performance from Jake Knapp. Went 7 innings to move to 6-0 on the season. Just 4 hits, 2 runs. Only one of those was earned. 2 strikeouts, just 1 base on ball. That home run allowed, but that was the only extra base hit he allowed in the game. I mean, really, really good stuff, and a great game between Carolina and Duke to kick off the series. Game 2 tonight, Friday, 6 p.m. on ACC Network Extra. The game 3, hopefully it won't be, I almost said the rubber match. Hopefully Carolina wins today, and we don't need it to be a rubber match at 2 p.m. Saturday, also on ACC Network. Heading into Friday, Carolina's ranked 19th at D1 baseball. They're 23-7 and 7-6 in ACC play. Softball Heading into the weekend at 29-9, 8-4 overall. They beat Charlotte midweek. Just like the fellas, the baseball guys, they're playing Duke, but this series is over in Durham. Those games today, Friday, 6 p.m. ACC Network Extra. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. also on Extra. And then Sunday, 6 p.m. on the Deuce, ESPN2. Let's go to tennis, women's tennis. 16-4, 7-1 in ACC play, ranked 7th in the nation. Both teams are out on the West Coast. Both actually play Stanford today. The women play at 4, the men play at 9:30 Eastern. And then a little bit of a different schedule the rest of the weekend. The women play at Cal Saturday at 3 p.m. The men play at Cal Sunday, also at 3 p.m. So we're getting close to the end of the regular season for both of these squads. Again, the women in good shape. The men ranked 47th, 12-7 overall, 6-4 in ACC play. Lacrosse. Oh, this is the big one, gang. Women's lacrosse, 11-0, 6-0 in ACC play. I talked about it on Monday's show. They are obliterating their competition, just beat the third-ranked team in the nation. But now it comes down to it. This is number 1 versus number 2. Carolina, the second-ranked team in the nation, hosting the number 1 ranked team, Boston College. They've been number 1 all season long. This game tomorrow, Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you're up drinking your coffee or actually at the game ready to go. ESPNU, this one's going to be on live. You don't even have to go streaming on this bad boy. Make sure you check it out. Only 4 regular season games left for the ladies. Men's lacrosse finally starting ACC play on Saturday. They host Virginia at 4 p.m. That's probably why the ladies are going so early. That one is on ACC Network Extra. The guys are 7-2 and ranked 8th in the nation. So many ranked teams. Another one of those is women's golf, 12th in the nation. Monday, they have the NC State match play at NC State. They take on Virginia in the morning and then NC State in the afternoon. Men's golf, ranked 9th in the nation. They are in Augusta, Georgia. No, not on the Masters, but at Forest Hills Golf Club. It is the Augusta Haskins Award Invitational. Pretty cool to be down there just a week before Masters. Remember, the Masters always happens the weekend after the national championship game. So that kicks off next Thursday. And so there you go. Gymnastics, ranked 22nd in the nation. They're in the regional championships this weekend. It's today, 2 p.m. is how it starts, streamed on ESPN Plus down in Tuscaloosa. There are 8 teams there divided into 2 4-team groups. Carolina's group is number 6 in the nation, Cal, number 11, Bama and Iowa. The other group is Florida, Oregon State, NC State, and Clemson. The top 2 teams from each semifinal will move on to the finals on the regional finals on Sunday. The top 2 from that regional final will move on to the national championships in Fort Worth. So got work to do today. You got some really good teams there in Cal and Alabama, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Track and field is at the Vert Class meeting, High Point, North Carolina today and tomorrow. And finally, rowing is at the Rocky Top Invite today and tomorrow. Of course, that's in Knoxville, Tennessee. Good old Rocky Top. That song just gets stuck in your head, man, right? Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. Yeah. What a great week on the show. I mean, it's just been transfer portal heavy because that's where we're at right now. I'm sure there will be more news over the weekend. If and when there is, I'll hop in with like a quick organic short. If it's a commitment or something, we'll probably go live. So stay tuned for that. If there's no news, we'll be together on Monday. Coach Pat Kilby, his schedule just didn't allow him to join me this week. We're actually going to record together on Sunday for Monday's show. So that'll be exciting and looking forward to that. I mentioned the Locked On Tar Heels Insiders earlier. If you're not part of it, why not? You need to be. That's where I dump all of my transfer portal rumors and rumblings and everything I hear first before I put it anywhere else. So if you're not part of that, links in the show notes. Come hang out and join us there. If you're not part of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, we are, as of right now, 19 members away from hitting 500 in there, man. It's awesome, and we would love to have you come be part of that. That link is also in the show notes. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, man, you're missing out there because I'm dropping content in all the time. Sometimes our long-form stuff like that. A lot of days during the portal season right now, I've just been putting up little shorts here and there to update us on where we're at. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again hopefully this weekend because that means there's news. If not, we'll talk on Monday. But until then, peace.